Okay, so we have here applications of perimeter and circumference, where you're taking a circle and you're basically modifying the circle, and now you've got to find the perimeter. Just if you recall, there are two formulas to find the circumference of a circle. Formula number one is where you have circumference is pi times diameter. And formula number two is circumference is 2 times pi times the radius. If you're given the diameter, you can use the top one. If you're given the radius, you can use this one over here. So let's have a look now when you have a question like 1A where you've got a semicircle and you have to find the perimeter. Now bear in mind, if this was a full circle, in other words like this, to find this green circumference, you would simply do pi times diameter, in other words, pi times 14, and you're done. There's nothing else to do. But in this case, what we have here is half of that circumference. So what you're going to do to find this part, is you're going to do pi times diameter, and then you're going to divide that by 2. So again, pi times diameter would find you the entire circumference. But if you just want half, you're going to do pi times diameter divided by 2. But now, in addition to that, we now have this 14. We now have this 14 that we didn't have when we had a full circle. When you have a full circle, yes, of course, you actually use the diameter to find the circumference, but the diameter is not part of the actual perimeter. Where in this case, we've got this here, which is half the circumference, and now we've got to add that 14 to find the full perimeter. So perimeter here is going to be 14 plus pi times diameter divided by 2. Let's go to question 2 now, where we have a quarter of a circle, and you've got to find the circumference, the perimeter of this shape. Again, if this was a full circle, let's draw a full circle. You can see that there. From the center to the edge would be the radius. So if I was going to find this entire green circumference, I would do 2 times pi times the radius. But now, from here to here, is only a quarter of that circumference, so I'm going to divide that by 4. Of course, now to find the whole perimeter of the shape, I've got to add this 7, and then I've got to add this here, which is also 7. So your total perimeter is 7 plus 2 times pi times the radius divided by 4. And you're done. Let's go to question 3 now. If this was a full circle, to find the distance around that circle or the circumference, you would do 2 times pi times the radius. The radius is from the center to the edge, or from this center to the edge, it's all the same thing, which is 22.9. So you would do 2 times pi times the radius to find the distance around the entire circle. However, I don't have an entire circle. How much of the entire circle is this here? Well, it's 3/4. You can see, okay? If this is 90 degrees, then this is 270, and 270 over 360 is 3/4. Now, how do you find 3/4 of the entire circumference? Well, simple. You do 3/4 times. Okay? If I ask you to find a half of 10, you do a half times 10. If I ask you to find a third of 30, you would do a third times 30. So to find a fraction of a number, you just multiply. And so that's what you do here. So what's the entire perimeter? Well, the perimeter is going to be this here, which is 22.9, plus this here, which is also 22.9, plus this here, which we calculated to be this entire thing here. Okay, and that's done. Let's go to question 3b now. Question 3b, we have this here, which is half a circle. We have this here, which is also half a circle. And finally, we have this 28. So let's look at the green semicircle first. If this was an entire circle, from here to here would be the diameter. Now bear in mind, if that's 28, then this is also 28. So for this circle, 28 would be the diameter. And pi times diameter would give me the distance from there all the way around and back to where I started. That would be pi times diameter. But I've only got half the circle here, right? So I'm going to do pi times diameter divided by 2 for that green portion. Now, if I look at this blue circle or semicircle, if it was a full circle, that's what it would look like. And you can see that 28 would be the radius of that big circle. Now, I only want to find half the circumference. So what you're going to do there for this is 2 times pi times the radius, which will give you the entire circumference. And you're going to divide it by 2 because you only want half. So now the perimeter of the shape is this here, which we have found, the blue section, which we have found, and now you've got a plus the 28 and you're complete. Let's go to question 1c now. In 1c you have this, which is half a circle, this, which is half a circle, then you've got to add the 32 and the 32. Let's talk about the semicircles first. This one over here. Now, if this was a full circle and you were to continue this, you can see that this would be the diameter, which is 20.6. So to find that part, you would do pi times diameter divided by 2. So that gets you the distance from here all the way to here. The other side is exactly the same. It would be pi times diameter divided by 2. And once you've finished adding those two, you can add 32 and 32, and that'll complete your entire perimeter. Now, one other way to do this question, if you think about it logically, is if you have half a circle here and you have half a circle here, instead of finding those two and adding them up, you could have just found the distance around one full circle and you would have got the same answer, because this is half the circle, this is the other half, so together they make the distance around one circle. Okay, that's video tutorial number 1 for this page. I will do one more for the remainder of question 3, since many of the students in class asked these questions, and I look forward to sending that to you shortly.